Everybody, please be seated and quiet. We are about to start. It's now 2 minutes past 7 p.m. I believe today is July 27th, 2017. Our regular council meeting is about to begin. Oh, I said July? I'm sorry, for the record. Mr. Clerk, can you please start with roll call?
Mayor Joseph,
Here?
Vice Mayor Galvin,
Here.
Councilwoman Keys,
Here.
Councilman Bieneme, Councilman Councilman Dezume.
Here.
Mayor, we have a quorum to proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk, Mr. Elected Clerk. Now we're going to ask Officer Natalie Bousseret to please come from the North Miami PD and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Please remain standing while we are being led by Rabbi Dr. Lang for in invocation before we start.
Please be seated. Sit. First, good evening. A few weeks ago in the Bible, there was a story where Moses sent out 12 spies. It's in the book of Bamidbar and the portion of Shalach Lecha. Of the 12 spies, 10 come back and they say that Israel is uninhabitable. There are giants there. The people there will kill us. We can never go there. 2 people, Joshua and Caleb, come back and say Israel's beautiful. We could go there. What it has to do with is perception. It's the same exact place, but the perception was very different. Our city has many people that have a negative perception, but thank God the majority of our people have a positive perception of our city. We have a wonderful city. The people with a positive attitude are the right ones. We have a very strong council. Everyone is getting along. The city is doing well. Everyone has to stay together. It's very important. We see what's happening with the Republicans and the Democrats, how there's so much divisiveness. That's not acceptable. So we ask God to invoke his blessing on everyone here, that we should understand that there are different eyes. People have different perceptions. It's not a question of right or wrong. It's a question that people have a right to have their perception. But God willing, we will have a positive one. The 2 spies that came back saying that Israel was a good place were positive. They had faith. I'm asking that everyone should have faith in our city, in our mayor, and our council members, and our police force, to understand and to know that we will wind up one of the best cities, and we already are one of the best cities, but we will continue to be one of the best cities because we have the best people working for us. So I thank you, and God should bless all of you, and we say amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Dr. Lang. At this time, we will entertain any addition, deletion, amendments, or referral. Actually, before, yes, let's do that first. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I know that Councilwoman Keys wanted to recognize 2 individuals under presentations, and I'd like to ask that we move item tab K to immediately following the consent agenda. So after item E.
What is tab K?
Tab K is the approval of the cap on the millage and setting the dates for the budget.
That's fine.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Before we go to special presentations, of course, I will defer to Councilwoman Keys, who has.
Thank you. I would just like to relay some sad news I received this morning, and I'd like to remember 2 very long-time residents of North Miami, both very active in the community, both gave so much to the community, and that is Gail Doyle, passed away last evening, and Dr. James Tracton passed away this morning. And it's really sad. I've sat through so many council meetings with both of them here, so I just want a moment of silence to remember them. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Councilwoman. I mean, it's sad news. That just things that we have to deal with as living people on this earth. So, Mr. Attorney, it is my understanding that the agenda is now set and we may continue.
Yes, Mayor, the agenda is set and we may continue.
Thank you very much. Now, item 5, the first special presentation is conceptual design by T.Y. Lin International. I'm sorry they didn't put your name, so.
My name is David Yurtsin. I'm with T.Y. Lin International. That was like walking the runway. I like that.
Was that?
Like walking the runway coming there. I'm going to try to use this remote control. The presentation tonight is about the improvements on 125th Street, extending from 6th to 10th. And what I'm going to do is go through sort of a brief analysis of how we got to where we are, and then we do have concept plans that we'll briefly go through. The first item, the first slide, talks about 125th directly, and that it's a arterial roadway. It's a high-traffic roadway. However, it is the gateway into the city. It's also the main street of the city. Therefore, it deserves special consideration in terms of aesthetics. And in order to do our plans, we had to go through a number of previous plans that were done, master plans and studies that were done by the City of North Miami. Some of those include the Downtown Action Plan, the Comprehensive Plan, and of course the design guidelines, and all the peripheral projects that happen around this project are then factored into the design. And we have boards, but we didn't have them mounted tonight, but you can see from this slide that we took those plans and studies that were done and created a framework for this streetscape design, including complete streets criteria, downtown development and major corridor master planning items, comprehensive signage master plan. The signage plan has been partly implemented, but not entirely. And then, of course, the downtown transportation plan, which does factor in. And what is Complete Streets? Complete Streets is changing the character of the street so that it is more pedestrian-oriented, so that the traffic doesn't flow as fast. You still convey the traffic, but you are accommodating bicycles, pedestrians, and vehicular traffic. And it also helps businesses. It creates more interest in the business in terms of the visibility to it. There's more amenities on the street for the business as well. So, and when we say the word multimodal, we mean it includes bicycles, pedestrians, and so forth. Downtown arts area, art overlay corridor, and branding, where there are a number of items that were covered early on, including what kind of site furniture to have in there, wayfinding, how you find your way through the corridor, how do you brand downtown North Miami. Decorative street signage is, like I said, is already partly in. There are pedestrian lights on the streetscape now, and the plan is to take those existing lights and then refurbish those with new fixtures on the top that are LEDs. Public outreach comments included, and I'll just read through these. Shade trees were requested by the folks in North Miami. Obviously, it's very sunny, very hot here. Reducing the travel lanes down to slow the traffic down. That's a Taft traffic calming measure from 10'6" to 10 feet wide. Pedestrian friendly. Right now, it is a very congested roadway, and the traffic moves quickly. It's not exactly amenable to pedestrians. Flex lanes, which not sure we can do that in FDOT roadway. And then, of course, sustainability in terms of pervious paving and sustainable materials. And a consistent theme throughout. And pedestrian safety is the #1 issue. The objectives are to have a furnishing zone. That's the area between the back of the curb to the sidewalk. And then the furnishing zone is when you see in a streetscape. The trees are there, the lights are there, the site furniture is there. You need at least 4 feet wide. And we're trying to accommodate that by eliminating some parts of the parking on the north side of the street. The south side we did not change as much. The existing decorative pavement, there's a very unique pattern here that's your brand. We plan to maintain as much of that as we can. And pedestrian lighting And then, of course, bump out areas between the parking areas. That's how we're going to get the trees to work, by bumping out the curb. Cross sections, options for lane widths, we're still working on some of that, but we do want to reduce the lane widths down a bit, and that'll accommodate what we refer to as a sharrow, which is a shared lane for bicycles and vehicular traffic on the outer lanes closest to the curb. Of course, we have to deal with the FDOT. It's an FDOT roadway. We have to accommodate FDOT in terms of sight lines and in terms of safety, so we have to do that as well. And of course, all this will be ADA accessible, which means that anybody who's disabled will be able to get onto the streetscape easily. And we also have mid-block crossings. Now, the sidewalk area is going to be compressed. This is a difficult street in terms of how do you get enough sidewalk space to accommodate pedestrians. It's very narrow at present, and we're going to move out the trees to the parking area, and the parking will then fit between the trees. That way we maintain the 7 or 8 feet of sidewalk. We still get the tree canopy, and there's one area on the south side of the street between 8th and 9th where we're actually taking the parking out, where the sidewalk is only about 4 feet wide. It really isn't accommodating. And the on-street parking analysis was important because we had heard that there were concerns about the amount of parking coming off the street. And with this plan, you'll lose about 56 spaces on the north side and south side. 56 spaces. But to carry that even further forward, there are 549 off-street parking spaces that are nearby. You can see it's only 10% of the total. And that if you look at the future, as the downtown redevelops, there's a number of projects that are in the queue right now to redevelop around the City Hall. And that will bring into the downtown area 4,500 parking spaces. And that's a huge amount of parking. So we're hoping that reducing the amount of parking, sacrificing that for landscape, canopy trees, and for lighting is a good trade. We also have some character sketches. This is the north side, and you can see from the sketch, the cars parked on the color sketch, that's the parking area the way it is today. But if you look just beyond that, you see the tree and the lighting. That's where the bump out occurs. So the bump out now comes out where the parking is today. Bump out is there. That's where the lights are. That's where the seating is, and also the canopy trees. And on the south side of the street, we plan to widen just a bit and add lighting. There are some areas for trees, not many, but we'll try to put those in as well as we can. And canopy trees, we've selected just a very brief list for right now: tamarind, pink tababuy, and live oak for canopy trees. We plan to bring in the canopy trees on the neckouts that are substantial, so that they do create some shade. We have palm trees on some parts of the project, primarily around the plaza near the City Hall area, and but not on the streetscape itself. Those are all canopy trees on the streetscape.
I'm sorry if I can jump in. How many of those trees are native to
All of them.
South Florida? Okay.
Yeah, they're all native to South Florida. Yeah, and material selection. We understand that there is a very particular brand here. So we had initially during our preliminary design talked about, well, how do we augment that? Do we change it? Do we? My feeling on that is we probably aren't going to change the street furniture much, with the addition of more benches. And I'm going to go through these quickly because you can't really see it that well, but the idea is very clear. Between 6th and 7th is the narrowest part of the right-of-way. If you're standing near Dixie Highway and you're looking to the east, the right-of-way actually gets wider toward the far end to about 83, 84 feet. But at that narrow end, near the McDonald's, it's 77 feet. That's accommodating 2 lanes of traffic, a turning lane, parking, sidewalks, and so forth. So it's a very compressed space. As you move down the road a little bit further, it's a little bit wider, and you see the tree is parked behind the car. The tree is a neck out that is beyond the car. So you can see the tree, the landscaping is now in that parking area. And pedestrians on the right side, which would be the south side of the street, we're trying to get that sidewalk as wide as we can, a minimum of 5 feet for ADA, and hopefully we'll get that up to 7 or 8. And as you go down a little further, you can see it gets the sidewalks get more generous, the landscaping gets more generous, and we also have the ability to put medians in the roadway as well. This is a concept plan. This is a plan from 6th to 7th, and you can see how the trees work on the north side in the bump outs. You see that we still have the neck outs on the south side of the street. Those will be maintained. New landscaping in those, so it looks a little bit more attractive. And you can see the red rectangle is a mid-block crossing near the plaza. Now we've changed the configuration of the plaza a bit along the streetscape so we can add palm trees that match the existing palm trees. and also smaller canopy trees in that little bump out area to create some seating that's near the existing bus stop. On the north side, you can see how it works. There's 2 cars and then the bump out. 2 cars, bump out. Of course, all the crosswalks are ADA accessible and they're decorative. Now you see the median between 8th and 9th. We haven't the ability to do that because of the width of the right-of-way is a little bit wider and there aren't any turning lanes there, so you can see how that works. And the trees on the south side you see are existing. And one of the comments earlier was, well, you're not adding any trees to the south side. Well, there's plenty of canopy further down the street that does protrude over the right-of-way. So the trees really don't fit in that part of the street because there are existing trees in place. And then at the far end, 9th to 10th, this is the end of the project. We end at 10th. A longer median, and again, parking, and then trees on the north side of the street with lighting. Now, one of the things we did add, there's 2 levels of lighting out here. There's what we refer to as Acorn, which is a 12-foot decorative light, and then we have taller 25-foot vehicular lights that sort of space in between. 1 per block, north and south, north and south. They sort of stagger. So the idea is we have to, because it's a wide right-of-way and it's FDOT, we need to accommodate lighting for the vehicular traffic, but also with the decorative lighting for pedestrians along the street. And that concludes the presentation. If you have any questions.
Mr. Mayor?
Just before you, thank you very much, David.
Mhm.
Last name?
Yertsin, like a Y. Yertsin.
Mr. Gersten.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. This presentation actually is supposed to take place like 3 years from now in 2020. But thanks to staff, sometimes we blame staff, for not, meeting our requests and so forth. When I first got elected and I was going through projects with Mr. O'Brien, John O'Brien, please stand up so you may be recognized, because I sat with John and John, he presented this project to me and said, Mr. Mayor, unfortunately this won't happen until 2020. I said, well, with you and me here, I think we can try and make it happen sooner. So John went to work, and then in a couple of weeks, maybe 2 months later, he came back and said, Mr. Mayor, guess what? We're going to get this project done much, much, much sooner. So that's how we got MPO or FDOT to actually rush and put this project in priority list so that it could come to fruition. So thank you very much for the detailed presentation. And of course, there will be some public hearings, before implementation of the actual project. So thank you very much, John, and thank you, Mr. Gerson, for the presentation.
I have questions, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, go ahead.
I really like what you're proposing. Having been on this council a long time, this is very, very, except for the pop-outs, I think is what you call them.
Yeah.
This is very, very similar to something we proposed to FDOT in the early 2000s. They quickly shot it down because they saw Northeast 125th Street as a hurricane evacuation route from the beach to I-95 because it's the only street, at least in North Miami, that connects directly from the beach to I-95. What conversations have you had with FDOT that give you some level? I'm sorry, gentlemen, if I'm. I'll wait. What conversations have you had with FDOT that gives you some level of assurance that they're going to approve this?
I'm going to answer the question in 2 ways. The first part of the answer is we work with FDOT a lot. We have a good relationship with them, especially this particular district. The conversations, and the second part of the answer is we haven't spoken to them directly about this particular project.
When do you plan to do that?
Well, we're hoping that this presentation will then get us to the next level of approval. We're reluctant to take it to FDOT until we make sure that this is the plan that the city wants to see.
Mr. Mayor, through you to the manager, this plan, I like it. I like it. I like it. I've seen FDOT shoot us down, especially because of the shortening of the lane width and the median decoration. I mean, there are news stories in print that have me saying let's make our median landscaped, but they wouldn't allow it.
Right. Well,
Why
there's
do you
a
think
third
that
part of the answer as well. I'm sorry to interrupt. And that is the lane widths have been widened on the outside edges. And there's no change in the where the curb or the lane is located on the north or the south side. So in essence, there's no difference in the amount of traffic that it'll convey with the reconfiguration. The bump outs happen in the parking
No,
area.
their concern will not be that the number of cars are lessened, it's the speed at which they are able to travel, because FDOT, old man, gray hair, FDOT is going to say, I'm predicting the future, that these lanes are too narrow with the landscaping, etc., to allow traffic to quickly evacuate Miami Beach in the situation of a hurricane warning / watch, whatever. So this is very, very similar to something we proposed to FDOT 15 years ago. They shot it down then. I just worry about us spending a lot of money on plans. That looked beautiful. It was great. Are we having any conversations with them we need to start having those conversations if we think they're going to really approve this, because otherwise we'll have spent more money on pretty looking proposals that get shot down.
Mr. Mayor, through the manager, we have spoken to FDOT considerably in the past. In fact, we already did most of these plans, have been approved by FDOT back in 2011, but we lost our funding. So this is actually, FDOT is paying for this design and for the improvements. They know exactly what's coming up. They'll be saying, hey, you need to move this, you need to move that, but no, they're completely on board with this. They're giving us the money to do this.
May I ask who at FDOT?
This is, FDOT has changed a lot recently. They adopted their complete streets plans in last year.
A name is fine, John.
I-
I'm all on this.
This is
I want
everybody
this to
we're dealing with
pass. I
there.
want this to pass, but I also am being very realistic based on stuff that they've whacked us with before. So,
No, there's really been a sea change. You can talk to David. I mean, in the past 2 or 3 years, there's been a sea change over there. And this complete streets is being pushed by them. They're coming out with the new rules, and
can you overnight please put me in touch with somebody with FDOT so that I can have an actual face-to-face conversation with somebody?
Yes, we can do that, Councilman. I'd like to add, I think one of the other things I've heard from some of the representatives from FDOT that we've met, not only this, but some of the other things that they're looking at, what they'd like to see from the city is an affirmative resolution saying this is what we want. And once they have that, we can fastly move forward.
I just
And
want to
that's
hold their
what
feet
one
to the
of
fire.
the-
I don't want to pass this and then have them shoot us down before.
Yeah, right, and we got two, to John's point, we have 2 more street-related items in this area coming up.
If you're gonna, my vote is yes. If you're telling me by morning I'm gonna have the name, email, and
Well,
phone
for the
number of
record,
somebody
for the
from
record, let
FDOT.
the record show this is not a resolution, nor is it. And this is not something we have. This is just a special presentation.
I'm not voting on this tonight. I get it.
It's a special presentation.
Right, I know, but I'm just saying, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
There comes with age a certain amount of wisdom. I've seen them kick us in the teeth on this before, and I am. I said it at the top. I like it. I think it's great. It looks wonderful. I just don't want to get everybody's hopes up for FDOT to go, no, hurricane evacuation route. You can't do this here. That's what they've done to us
Okay.
before.
All right, Mr. O'Brien, the presentation that we had, was it by FDOT people or?
Yeah.
The one that you, in my office?
right, that was the 5 points one.
No, on 125th. Do you remember that was presented to? There was
Yeah,
a
that was part of 125th as well.
Yes.
They're also, Councilman, it's kind of exciting. They're taking out 2 lanes on
they
Northwest
were,
7th
They
Avenue
were from FDOT. They were the ones.
coming up.
We're not talking about Northwest 7th Avenue today.
Right.
I
It's,
have. I'm ingrained with lack of trust from agencies
don't
that
blame
haven't
you.
necessarily been our friends in the past. I want to believe that there's been a sea change, as you've just said, and they're going to do this. I just need to have a little bit more direct contact with them, because I'll be as blunt with them as I'm being with you guys right now. I'm not going to let them hem and haw. I'm not going to let them play around. I'm going to say, are you going to pass this? I mean, so there we go. I won't belabor the point. We got
Okay.
a long night in front of us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gerson. Now we'll move to next presentation by EBS. EBS Engineering for the right-of-way condition survey. It's a survey of the streets that we started. We gave the, no, you didn't get a mandate from, yeah, you did get a mandate from us. And then we engaged EBS to go all over the entire city and look at all the streets Because like I've always tell everybody up here, if I'm going to be known as any type of mayor, I want to be known as a mayor who made sure that our streets are repaired, resurfaced, and redone, all infrastructures and so forth. So that's why we have EBS now to talk to us about what they have seen after they have surveyed the entire city and look at all the streets and what we should list as our priorities. We try to make it as concise as possible because time is of the essence.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, the Mayor and the Council. My name is Benjamin Essien, and with me is Emile, Amedi, and Patrick Fernandez. We all work on the project, so we're going to take turn to present so that we can answer all the questions you may have and also make sure that you have the information that we're interested in presenting to you. This project was completed earlier this month, so we have the full report and we have submitted it to the city already. The city retained us, EBS Engineering, to do a citywide condition survey for all the streets in the city. The city managed streets, not the FDOT street, but the city managed street, not the county street. And EBS as a prime and Ambro Engineering as a sub to us. So we did that, and it took us to the field, and we collected the data, we evaluated the data, we came out with conclusions, and we provided the results. And tonight we are presenting in a very, very brief nature the results of that. Patrick would join me now to present the sample of condition that we saw.
Good evening. I'm just going to go over a few of the stresses that we were identifying in our survey. As you can see, there's cracking of various severities as shown. There's cracking both involving sidewalk concrete and asphaltic concrete in the roads. Other distresses that were of interest to us were depressions and sag, which contribute to flooding and which further damage the roads, and faulting in sidewalks, which presents a tripping hazard, and other distresses usually caused by tree roots or by blowouts. I've also organized a very brief demonstration of how the data was collected. This is the application as it would appear on a mobile device, showing your location and any distress points already entered. One would surveyor surveying an area would add a new point, enter in all the relevant data into the field right on their phone, and then pinpoint the location on the map and attach a photo for verification. And just like that, this entire 10,000 entry database was built with this method. And now I'm going to hand over to Emile for results.
Yes, after months of field work, we collected about 10,300 and change of distress points. Those distress points consist of, like you said before, sidewalks, swale issues, asphalt pavement issues. We collected them, and they were divided by districts. So as you can see here, the amount of distress point in District 1, District 2, District 3, and District 4. We created a pie chart that would show you the severity results overall. The red would be the extreme, moderate would be yellow, and green would be just low. Same thing for streets. We did the same thing for the streets and also for the swales. Curb and gutters also were a part of our survey. What we did is, what you can see in this map is all the points collected throughout the city. I know it's kind of small, but there's different shape, and you would see the triangular one would be curb and gutter, and they have 3 different colors. They are color coded, same way, red for extreme, yellow for moderate, and green for low. And we also have done density map, where you see the red being dense, showing where we have more distress points. Also included in our reports are per districts. Same thing, you can see the points and locate them. As you can see, for example, here you can see where all the reds are. This is where most distresses occur. The same for District 2, for District 3, and for District 4. We created a priority table. Those were done based on the amount of distresses in the special, in specific locations. And we also broke that down by districts. Part of our survey was also to measure right-of-ways and swales. So we also presented that in a table. Well, in conclusion, what we want to say is, I know I kind of went fast into it, but that we went and we did the task that was assigned to us. We kind of presented the CD with something, not just a paper report, but a tool that they can use to follow any changes that you make through a particular area. You can upload it to a GIS database, and you can compare the before and after. So with that, we conclude our presentation.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Does staff have anything else
Just
to add?
the one thing to add, again, this was a mandate that came from the council to me. This report now will be used as the basis for us to allocate our funds and strategically attack the issue of roadway and sidewalks. So you'll see your first, I guess, allocations in this year's budget, and we'll plan on in our 5-year capital plan update. So I just wanted to let you know this will be the basis for that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if you allow me just for 1 second.
Go ahead.
I just want to thank the firm. Looking at the report is very in-depth, and especially looking at District 4. Well, all of the districts, but it's hard to oversee how damaging it is. And I know we had several conversations in our meeting, in our briefing, Mr. Manager. So this was a very, very well put together report. I just want to acknowledge that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Councilman. And is there any other comment or suggestion from the dais? No. Thank you very much. And the next item on the agenda would be CD events, announcements. Before you can still come to the mic, but I believe Honorable Judge Serafin may be in the audience. If so, I want him to be recognized. Thank you very much for your honorable presence. And Councilman Despinos, I don't know if he left. He gave many years of his life in the service of this city, so I want to recognize him as well. And one particular person I see in the audience is one of the pillars, one of the founders of this Haitian community is Mr. Exulien. Thank you very much for your presence, Medze. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, North Miami neighbors, and guests. I'm City of North Miami Public Information Officer Unicia Baker, and it is my pleasure this evening to share some of our exciting upcoming events with you. The South Florida Cultural Consortium is currently on display at MoCA. It identifies, supports, and celebrates South Florida's regional artists, promoting appreciation and production of their unique artistic expressions. This exhibition will be on display through August 6th. At 7 p.m. on Tuesday, July 4th, celebrate Independence Day by the Bay with the City of North Miami. Enjoy fireworks at sundown, a kids' corner, live musical entertainment, and more. Admission is free, as well as parking. This annual event takes place at the Coven Center, located at Florida International University's Biscayne Bay campus. Community beautification projects are underway throughout North Miami's 4th District. To celebrate, Councilman Alex Desume invites you to the District 4 Community Block Party on Saturday, July 8th from 3 to 6 p.m. on Northwest 134th Street and 2nd Avenue. This event will feature a ribbon-cutting ceremony, community resources for residents of all ages, food, and entertainment. The next Getting Geared community bike ride will take place on Saturday, July 8th as well. This wellness initiative is a partnership between the City of North Miami Parks and Recreation Department as well as the North Miami Police Department. This 10-mile bike ride starts and ends at Mocha Plaza and takes place on the second Saturday of each month. The City of North Miami is now accepting school supplies donations for Mayor Joseph's annual Back to School Bash and Resource Fair. Donations will be accepted until 4:30 p.m. on August 7th. The Back to School Bash takes place on Saturday, August 19th at the Joe Celestine Center and will feature music, food, entertainment, and city resources. Best of all, this event will feature backpack donations filled with school supplies for North Miami's children. In North Miami, it starts in parks. With summer upon us, Parks and Recreation offers various summer camps for teens and children. Camps include an array of indoor and outdoor activities, and for more information, contact the Parks and Recreation Department. This summer, the entire family is invited to read for the fun of it with the North Miami Public Library. No matter your age, everyone is eligible to enjoy the chance to win fabulous prizes by simply reading books and reporting on them throughout the summer. Summer reading activities include innovative educational and entertaining programming for people of all ages to enjoy, and you just may have the opportunity to see your favorite storybook calendar. A full list of summer reading activities is available on northmiamifl.gov/NOMI libraries. Stay tuned with your city by watching our free governmental programming on NOMI TV, available 24 hours a day through the city's website, www.northmiamifl.gov. And like the City of North Miami on Facebook, follow @NOMI News on Twitter, and download the My NOMI mobile app. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll continue. The next, do we have any update on hurricane preparedness?
No, we don't.
No updates. Now we need a motion to move for the consent agenda.
Second.
Have a motion made by Councilman Desmay to approve the consent agenda. The motion was seconded by Councilwoman Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Now
Item
tab K.
passes with a 5-0 vote. Tab K, discussion and approval of proposed date for first budget hearing on Monday, September 4th, 2017, and second budget hearing on Monday, September 18th, 2017, and set a tentative millage rate.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
September the 4th is Labor Day, which is
Sorry. Through the mayor, it's been updated. The dates we have set are September the 11th and September the 25th.
okay. The dates just read were the 4th and
Okay.
something.
What's the second date?
September the
11th.
25th.
25th?
Mr. Clerk, can you
That's a
can,
Monday?
can you please read
Yes.
it again with the corrected dates?
Absolutely, Mayor. You said September
11th and
the 25th?
25th.
I'm going to reread tab K with the amendments. Discussion and approval of proposed date for first budget hearing on Monday, September 11, 2017, and the second budget hearing on Monday, September 25th, 2017, and set a tentative millage rate.
And where did you get your dates from?
No, that was.
No, I'm talking to the clerk.
I got it from.
I'm talking to the elected clerk.
Thank you. I got it from the office of the manager. Apparently, I got an old agenda. Apparently.
Okay.
You got it from Scott. That's what Councilman Galvin.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
I'm old.
Just very quickly, the budget director needs to put something on the record, sir.
Terry Henley, Budget Office. What this item also does is it sets our tentative millage rate at 7.5000, and that would be the cap. So going into the first hearing, we'd set it at that. We can't go any higher.
But but we can go lower. So the
Can
cap
go
will be-
lower, but
Go
you just
lower.
can't go higher.
I got it. Thank you.
There you go, people. We said we were going to lower taxes, and we are lowering taxes for the people of the city of North Miami.
Amen.
Any amen to that? Thank you very much.
Mr.
Clerk?
Mayor, through you to the clerk, will both of those meetings start at 6 p.m.?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve tab? Oh,
So
It's a discussion. We just.
discussion, there's no.
Do we need to vote, Mr. Attorney? Yes. Okay.
So move.
Second?
I have a motion made by Councilman Desmay to approve tab K. The motion was seconded by Mayor Smith Joseph. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes with a 5-0 vote. Tab F. proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving the allocation of $400,000 from the city's general fund account toward the creation of the 2017 City of North Miami Housing Improvement Program, further approving the guidelines for the program, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Just waiting for the presentation. Thank you. For the record, Tanya Wilson Sejour, Planning Director of Community Planning and Development. I will read the staff recommendation into the record. Staff is recommending that the mayor and council allocate $400,000 from the general fund towards the creation of the 2017 City of North Miami Housing Improvement Program and approve the associated program guidelines. I'm just going to walk you through a brief presentation to provide an overview of the actual proposed program and program guidelines. Through the city's comprehensive plan back in 2016, through the adoption of the comprehensive plan, Objective 3A1 calls for the city to ensure for decent, safe, and sanitary housing by continuing to eliminate and to improve the existing housing stock, understanding that North Miami's housing stock is over 90 years old in many instances. Most of the housing stock, I will say, based on our data, is between 50 to 60 years old. So we do know that we have an aged housing stock, and the City Council has committed through the comprehensive plan to making housing improvement and rehab a priority. And again, through policy 3A1.9, the comprehensive plan further adds that the city develop guidelines, and through those guidelines that you focus on rehabilitation and improvement of the housing stock itself to enhance and preserve North Miami's existing neighborhood and the neighborhood character. Just to walk you through a recap, back in fiscal year 16-17, the budget approval, the City Council allocated $400,000 towards the 2017 Housing Improvement Program. Along with that, the proposed program would entail two categories of funding. Category 1 would be strictly for beautification. Category 2 would be for structural improvements. Under the beautification category, the award wouldn't exceed $10,000 per homeowners, and the eligible repairs would include exterior paint, repaving of the driveways, replacement of deteriorated fascia, soffits, gutters, shutters, and installation of landscaping or wells. That program wouldn't include a lien on the property owner. On a category 2, that's more structural in nature. That would include replacement of roofs or repair, windows, doors, and any other approved beautification repairs under category 1. Looking at the eligible expenditures, again, as I mentioned, for the structural program, that would include a lien on the category 2, and of course it's a forgivable grant. So once a homeowner stays in the property itself and there's no default, then over time that's forgiven to the homeowner. And again, anything that's in excess of that $10,000 would require that lien. So looking at the eligibility, who would exactly qualify for this program? Must own and occupy a single-family residence, townhouse, duplex within the city, an annual income that is below 120% of the heir's median income. And priority is given to elderly residents. Those are at 62 years of age or older. Those that are disabled, priority is also given there. Funds will be available through a lottery selection system per district, and the applicant should not have participated or applied for any other beautification program funded within the last 5 years. So the staff request again is for mayor and council to approve the proposed guidelines to allow staff to be able to move forward with implementation of this program. And this concludes my presentation.
Before we speak, I will open this item to the public so that if anyone wishes to be heard on this item, to please come forward now. I see no one. Well, I see one.
A pleasant good evening, Tyrone Hill, 847 Northeast 145th Street. Just a few topical questions here. In category 2, if it would accommodate 20 persons at $400,000, if you do $20,000 worth of repair. In category 1, it should accommodate 40 people. It's not a whole lot of people, but it's gracious that this is happening. My question is, does this program follow federal guidelines as previous programs or a previous program has before, or is this a North Miami program, and in this category you always set up your own structure?
I believe all housing programs that we have, they usually come either from HUD or from some of the general fund money. So I will let the director answer that question with more specificity.
Because it's a locally funded program, it's not based on HUD federal guidelines.
Okay.
There are certain parts of it in terms of like the income qualification that's similar to HUD, but the full gamut of the HUD guidelines and the federal restrictions, it's not the same with this local program.
Okay, thank you very kindly. That's what I need to know.
Thank you very much. Anyone who wishes to be heard, please come now or forever. Hold your peace. Thank you very much. This public hearing is now closed, and we come to the dais.
Hello. Thank you. That was kind of you. So my name is Marisol. I live in 1270 Northeast 124th Street. My question is there a limitation as to how much you're going to be able to give to said applicant? Is there a maximum? Is that $10,000 and they won't be allowed to go beyond that? Or is it going to stop there?
Correct. It's a not to exceed, you'll see the breakdown on the screen. For category 1, the exterior beautification is not to exceed 10,000, and then category 2 is a not to exceed of 20,000.
And so there's no exemptions for that?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
cool.
You could
Thank
go lower, but you just can't go higher.
Thank you.
Let me correct that. There's a slight correction. There is a provision in the guidelines that does allow, with some met criteria, for us to approve an additional 20% over the guideline limit. But it is
Now, one recommendation that I have, is there any way we can make those guidelines available either online?
Yeah,
I mean, especially for the time we're going to open that process, either online or even in the lobby, area. So whoever would be interested in applying for these assistance could easily access them.
Absolutely, they're already online, but we certainly will put them on the CP&D website, and we will make a commitment.
Some in the lobby.
Some in the lobby, printed copies in the lobby.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Ileana Albarrani, 49 Northeast 121st Street. And I think that the program itself is nice. It does help individuals. But $400,000 is a lot of money that maybe could be used to buy public land for parks or to, just buy land in general or some investment that will help more in the long run. So, thank you.
Next. Anybody who wishes to speak, if you please come forward if you're in the back so we don't waste too many seconds.
Maureen O'Brien, 12120 Northeast 11th Court. I guess I would like to ask if you could provide clarification about, if not HUD guidelines, what guidelines will you use for determination of how funds can be used?
Okay, I'm gonna go back a few slides. I think that was
Okay, now after you answer this, this is if I don't know how we want to proceed with this. Like, we have a CP&D department. If we have further questions, Mr. Manager, please make it some kind of way that people can have access to those.
I want to simply answer that question. These are the guidelines. So these are guidelines that, again, we craft with there's some HUD provisions in here, but because these funds are general funds, these are the guidelines as prescribed by this council. So these are the guidelines as they are presented to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we move to the dais. If there is, Mrs. Director, thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Tanya, your staff, thank you so much for this work. I know last year we went to HUD. The problem that they had is a much bigger problem than we anticipated, and I know your department and this city and the administration really understands what kind of a city we have where people do need some help, and it's not every city who does this. So we do have to thank this council for having this vision to help these folks out. Every single day we are getting some type of a phone call, somebody need a roof or something, and the fact that you guys were able to put this together, a very well thought program, I truly, truly applaud the administration in your department. One quick question, I don't know if it's for you or the manager. I understand the 20% above the price based on item 102. Who would approve that?
As it reads now, there's 4 criteria that would be assessed by the CP&D director and approved there. Through the briefings, though, I know it was suggested that perhaps we change that language to bring it back to the council.
I would definitely support that, just in case. I do not want to put your amendment. Okay, and I would not mind supporting that amendment, because I don't want to put them into the predicament of having residents or something. If we know what we're doing, we are responsible to the community. I would definitely.
So you want to make a formal amendment, or you are going?
Go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
And a couple of questions for Tanya. Tanya, you said everybody who receive money under the home beautification program won't qualify for the new program.
Correct. So the way that it's written is if you've received funding within the last 5 years, then you can't apply for this.
Including the home beautification program?
Correct. It would be for new applicants who've never been helped that have deteriorated properties. Since the need is so great and the pot's so
to
small.
the mayor, Mr. City Manager, can I come with an amendment waiving that in the event that is a roof issue for an elderly? Under the home beautification program, it was only $10,000. We couldn't do any roofing, right?
Correct.
Now, if someone already received the money and now they have a roof problem, can we waive that if it's a homeowner
Mr.
over
Consultant,
62 years
if I may add, if you don't mind, adding instead of using roofing, if you can say safety issue. That way it can cover even windows. I mean, because if somebody has, broken windows and roofs and everything, it's a 75-year-old person.
So for clarification, do you want us to have the ability to waive it, or do you want us to just remove it?
No, the ability to waive it.
There'll be ability to waive it.
For safety.
For safety.
For safety reason. And secondly, the amount of assistance. You said it's 20,000 or less per household, but in the event that you're gonna exceed that by up to 20%, and you should be able to determine that. Can you add that language when it before us for final approval?
Yes. For those
it's
that
gonna
exceed.
exceed 20,000. And third, it's not only $400,000. You got to say 400,000 is coming from the general fund, but at the same time we have 700,000 coming from the CRA. That's been approving this. It's $1.1 million. That's gonna based on that guidelines, right?
So to address that issue, as the CRA board, you already approved the allocation to the city for that money. Under our CRA rules, what you directed us to do is to follow whatever guidelines that the city passes. The only exception will be whoever receives funding from the 700,000, their home has to be within the CRA geographic boundary.
Okay.
But all the other criteria will be these.
Okay. That's when the same criteria will be used for either the 700,000 and the 400,000.
That is correct, sir.
Which is 1.1
$1.1 million.
That means it's not just 400,000, it's $1.1 million to help people in need with their home.
Is that it, Mr.?
Okay. You were gonna say
No, I just had a question to clarify. The 20%, is it only if you are over 20,000, or it also apply to the 10,000? It sounds like over any limit.
Yeah, it's over any limit.
Or any amount, because you say 20, so it's
Depending
either
on
the
which
10
cat
or
the
the
20.
one or two.
It's just a 20%
Over. Okay.
over.
But okay, let me just to clarify this again. The 10,000, that would be more for the cosmetic part of the home.
Correct.
So I don't necessarily see going too much over that. Now the 20,000 I do see, because that's a roofing,
Yeah.
window, et cetera, et cetera.
That's what we
So
did. The 20% is only for the 20,000.
okay, I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure we clarify that.
Yeah.
Can we, if that's not that, can we make that? Can I make that an
No, you don't
amendment?
have to make it because
It's already there?
if it's gonna be 15. We said not to exceed 20,000.
20,000,
So
perfect.
that's fine.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
So on the 20,000, that means we can go up to 24,000.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
And
And-
we need council will have to approve that.
Council, okay.
Okay. Now I have just maybe two questions, and before I pose the questions, I need to let the people know. And Councilman Desulme said there aren't too many municipalities that actually do this in Miami-Dade County. Actually, we're probably the only one. From what I went over with Madam Director a couple of months ago, we met with the Secretary of HUD, Dr. Carson, and the message that he carried from President Trump is that do not expect any federal dollars from HUD in 17, 18 year. There is no money coming down to any state for HUD. So Mayor Jimenez was there, many other mayors were there, and we asked different questions. And when we say, money from HUD, it's not just helping with housing, helping with any social, help, assistance. Meaning Meals on Wheels. So it's very sad. Exactly, the CBOs, like the community-based organizations, and and this is something that we are doing as a city. We are very proud that we are doing it, and we want people to know that when you don't see us, we are sitting here in the city hall and different things are happening. We are laboring on your behalf to see to it that we have a community that is healthy, a community that is coherent, that is growing together. So with that being said, the only question that I have, Madam Director, when you say the property must be occupied by the owner, we have to define the word occupy.
Okay, so when you asked before what the federal government's similarities were, this was one of them. The property can't be rented out and be occupied by a tenant.
Okay.
You need to own it, your name needs to be on the deed, and you need to physically be in the structure.
So anyone who has a property that comes down for like maybe 2 months out of the year, they go back to their country, that person would qualify.
If they're occupying the structure and it's their primary residence, yes. Because the idea is that you don't want to be in the business of fixing and flipping.
No, the reason why I say that is because there are some properties where people just come, they spend about 4 weeks, and it's their property, the lien is under their name, but it's not really, it's like a vacation home for them.
No.
Yeah, as long as it's
How
your
do
primary
you know?
residence,
You
'cause we're
listen,
not trailing you.
but
to
you
sit
don't know
and
that.
sleep there.
And they probably won't meet the income.
We don't.
But
To me, the word occupy should be defined. It should be defined. He should occupy it for at least 6 months of the year.
So how are we gonna?
I'm not
I don't
sure
know
how we
whichever
enforce
way
that.
you want to define it. We have to define the word occupy. Somebody cannot just come to a house and spend a couple of weeks, 4 weeks or whatever it is, and then go back home to wherever they are, and then they receiving the guys. Let me speak, please. I know what I'm talking about. These are the tax dollars from the city of North Miami residents. So we have to make sure it's really someone who actually resides in the city.
So, may I?
Yes. Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask the attorney. Maybe we can clarify the definition, primary residence, and put minimum like number of months that you live in the house, or
Yeah.
something? Or they're registered to vote at that location. They have homestead exemption.
I was gonna say
There are
homestead exemption.
Homestead exemption. There are other
Yeah,
criteria.
or
that-
the criteria.
Yeah.
What the mayor is trying to
sign an
say,
affidavit.
you know, some real estate or investors, they may sell a house with a bad roof, thinking that after they occupy the property, and they're gonna come and ask the city for 20,000-30,000 to fix the roof. That's what the mayor wanna prevent. We wanna help
I think
real
I can
property
respond to
owners.
this. It's already a requirement that this property must be your homestead property. That's one
Okay.
of the eligibility requirements. It has to be your homestead property. That's already an eligibility requirement.
Okay. What about the lottery issue? So this is going to be done by lottery. That was mentioned.
Yeah.
We haven't voted on it.
Hmm?
We are talking about because you have two type of help for the people. You have those people in need that need a roof, and those people wanting a cosmetic stuff like changing the windows. And why don't we determine who's gonna participate in those lottery?
Mr.
What
Mayor.
category?
Yeah. Did you mention the word lottery? I mean, I can't find it
Yes,
yet
yes, she
in
did.
the item. But
What she did, you proposed that before.
the reason
lottery.
why.
Yes,
vote on it.
Well, I'm
Excuse me,
about to
sorry,
clarify.
please, guys.
You let me.
Guys, please. Because the reason why I'm against the lottery, I am not for someone winning 45 or 50 or maybe 35-year-old winning a lottery and getting his or her property fixed while a 65, 75, 85-year-old woman or man even didn't make it through the lottery, and where she might be in very much more need of the assistance. So this lottery business, I've always been opposed to it.
Okay, can I make my case since I'm a big component of the lottery? Please allow me. When I first got elected, we had a backlog in the CP&D department. And part of the problem was folks getting special treatment by friends and different folks, and that's what I was hearing. So in order for me to take myself out of it, and I do not mind if the lottery is only for District 4, because since I've been in office, I have always held lottery. And the way it works, everybody out there needs help. And I want to make sure that if I'm helping somebody, that I have absolutely nothing to do with it, my friend is not there, and the way I do the lottery, everybody who is qualified apply. And if it's 10 people we have money for, and 11 people applied, and we had that case, we selected 10 and we work with that other person. But those 10 who were selected, they knew, even though there was other folks who was not selected, they cannot say the city was not fair. We did it publicly. Your name is put in a basket, and you just come up and select the names, and this is who get it done. Because I do not want a list where they said this department, this person was first, this person was last. Everybody has problem. I understand that, and we cannot fix everyone. And I personally do not want to be in the situation where they say my friend, my family, this and this and that. I made a call. I'm not into for that. So if somebody want to do whatever process, I will support that. But I am asking my colleague if they would please support the lottery for District 4 only, and I'm only speaking for District 4. Thank you.
But at the same time, Councilman Desulme, remember you had 6 other people that the management have to find money to take care of them without the
Yeah,
lottery.
but guess what? They knew that. No, they knew. And every day these people told me, and 2 of them are in the senior program, they are so happy it was done fair because they could never say that we did it. Because they were there when you were there. Everybody was there when the people were selected. So they knew, hey, it wasn't my luck. Maybe next time. And we tell them, hey, you know what? Your application going to stay on file for next program, whatever the case is. But these were the folks who were selected. And that was it. Because everybody was qualified. And we can't. How do you determine if somebody has you have 100 people with a hole on their roof? How do you decide who comes first? I'm not gonna make that decision. That was just my purpose, and I really want to stay out of it, especially as someone who's just want to make sure that these things are done where I'm not, nobody could call my office and say my staff or CPND. Like I said, I will support any projects, any plan that the other districts would like to do, but I would prefer the lottery to remain for my district, and I'm asking you guys, please just kind of can I make an amendment to make it fair?
You cannot do something for your district.
Of course I
for
can.
the city. Oh, okay. Come
I
with
mean,
it. Okay, yes, you can.
Can
Okay,
we have
go
a
ahead.
discussion first, and then you can make your motion?
Okay, sure, absolutely. Go ahead, ma'am.
Councilwoman, you may be heard now.
Yes, because I also support the lottery very strongly, and I would like it for my district, of course, but I would like to see us do a lottery for the whole city together. Also, it does give priority of 62 and older, so if we have enough people for the lottery, they're 62 and older, you don't have to worry about the.
What does the age? Does the age range?
That's in the eligible
What
homeowners.
item is that?
The front page. Priority will be given to households that include the elderly 62 or older, and or the disabled property owners.
That's fine.
And the funds are available through the lottery selection for council district. And I'm willing to either do my district solely, or
But
put them
coun-
all together and let everybody join the lottery. I don't care, but I do support the lottery.
Councilwoman
Yeah.
Keys, you only have 5% of the people asking for help that coming from your district anyway.
So
It's
so they
one or
have,
two people.
that's not true at all, number one.
When I saw the list, it's about 2, 5, 10% people.
So,
from
so
that
if they're
district
allowed to
anyway.
join the lottery, they take the shot. And so you're gonna give me the whole 100,000, you're gonna just let them participate citywide?
How you gonna do, Mr. Manager, if you're gonna come up with the lotto that passed today, an example, right? How you gonna determine who's gonna be on that list? You're gonna have 20 people from District 1 or 10 from District 3. I'm giving you an example.
I'm
And
listening.
you have 500 from District 3 or District 4. And in the lottery, one district get everything.
Well-
Another one, how you gonna determine?
Well, with the
in
lottery,
what percentage you're gonna?
the lottery is more about selecting the individuals. We still have to do the
process.
The screening.
the
The
screening
screening.
and the eligibility.
Okay.
When you start, and that's the thing, and I think that's the point you're making, as you start to drill down, and it's the reality of the city. When you start to drill down and get into some of these eligibilities, those individuals that are falling in that income category, the age categories in some cases tend to be on District 4,
The lottery
District
gonna
3.
be with qualified.
Right. Well, no,
What's your
the lottery is just a means of selecting an individual. Then the individual still has to, every
Qualify?
individual has to qualify.
Well, no, well, actually,
Or you
the
can
way
pre-qualify. and
yeah,
then you
that's what I'm
lottery.
saying. I thought that based on the needs that would come down, then CPND will make the allocation, and then you do your lottery, because like Councilwoman Key says, if you open it up and you see first of all who's qualified, because it may be only 5 people from District 4, and it may be 20 from District 2, so we don't know yet. Once you then qualify, this is what I have, then you'll say, based on this money, based on the percentage that you will divide your I guess your pot of money per district, and then you do your lottery.
So if I kind of repeat what you're saying, we would go through an application time period. Let's say
Yeah.
it's 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Well, it's open invitation. People come.
Come.
No one's waiting in line. They're
Mhm.
they're submitting all of their eligibility requirements.
Mhm.
We assess all of that for everyone who's come in, and at that point, we figure out out of the
you
1,000
exceed the
applicants.
Where's the
amount.
percentage? Yes.
Yeah, out
If
of
you
the
exceed
1,000.
the amount.
Right. Yeah, even if you exceed the amount.
If-
Yeah, if you exceed the amount. If it doesn't and we can make it happen, then fine.
fix everything.
Yeah, because
I'm gonna assume we exceed the amount
well, of course.
of the eligible. Then based on that, we can.
Yes, there
do the
has to
lottery.
be a cap, Mr.
Right.
Manager, because I do not expect, and I would not expect like one district to get everything. That's not the point. If it's 400,000, just giving you an example based on that, let's assume that 50% is it's divided between District 4 and District 3, 50% and 50 District 1. That's fine. Then from that 50% from District 3 and District 4, I would assume that we could do it 25-25. I don't have any problem based on the needs if that's the needs. If then your application come back where it's 200 people versus 100, then I would, you know, whatever the percentage would be. If it's more in District 2, hey, it's District 2. They applied whatever the case is, but there has to be some type of percentage because it will be unfair to the other districts.
Well, I think we should vote on this and then come back with the
Absolutely,
process.
with the process, I agree.
Let's not.
I would
let's
agree
see
with
what
that.
we're at and let's
We're
figure
gonna
the
vote on
process.
this, and then the process will come.
Yes.
The process is
The
already in there.
process is
In letter A, the first page that you mentioned, actually page 2. Okay, in 1, 2, 3, there where it says eligible homeowners. It says priorities will be given. It says will be. It didn't say shall be. Okay, it didn't say shall be. It says priority will be given to household that includes the elderly 62 and older, like you alluded to, and or disabled property owners. It says funds are available through a lottery selection per council district. Per council district. So each district will do their own lottery?
Yeah, it has to be fair.
That's what you meant by that?
Following basically following the steps I just laid out.